Some decisions aren't made in a single moment. They brew silently, stirred by years of unmet desires and the longing to be seen. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about the quiet ache behind every choice, and the moment when silence gives way to something irreversible. If you've ever questioned love, loyalty, or your own heart, stay until the end. Because what happened between me and my husband's best friend didn't just break the rules. It rewrote them. I'm Julia, a 42-year-old mother of two. I've been married to David for nearly 2 decades. We had what people called a strong marriage. Stable, predictable, built on years of shared responsibilities and history. But what most didn't see was how hollow that stability had become. And then came Ethan, David's best friend since college. The man I was never supposed to see that way. Our life looked perfect. David was a financial analyst. Responsible, steady, conservative. I was a part-time art teacher and full-time mother to Mia and Lucas. On paper we had it all. But the truth? David hadn't touched me in months. He barely looked at me with any interest anymore. Our lives revolved around logistics. School runs, bills, chores. There was no more spark. No more laughter. Ethan moved back to town after years abroad. He'd been in London working in tech, traveling the world. David was thrilled to have his best friend back. He started coming over for dinner, drinks, game nights. And from the very beginning, Ethan noticed me. Noticed the little things. My earrings, my perfume, my tired eyes. It wasn't flirtatious. Not yet. It was just attention. Something I hadn't received in years. When the kids were asleep and David fell into his usual TV coma, Ethan and I would end up in the kitchen talking. About art, about music, about politics. About life. I found myself looking forward to those moments. I wore nicer clothes. I started doing my hair again. For who, I wasn't ready to admit. There was a night David had too much to drink and went to bed early. Ethan and I stayed up talking on the patio. The air was warm and the wine softened everything. We sat close. Too close. When I laughed at his joke and our eyes locked, something passed between us. A flicker. Dangerous. Electric. We both felt it. But neither said a word. A few days later, I found myself messaging Ethan just to say hello. Just to share a meme. Just to vent. Our texts turned into conversations. Long ones. At odd hours. One message still burns in my memory. Do you ever wonder what your life would have looked like if you'd chosen differently? It was a Friday. David had gone away on a fishing trip with coworkers. A storm rolled in just as Ethan dropped by to return a book. The power flickered. Rain fell in sheets. We sat on the couch. Close. Too close again. Ethan turned to me. I think about you more than I should, he said. I didn't move away. I didn't tell him to stop. We didn't plan it. Just happened. A brush of the hand. A lean. A kiss that was soft, hesitant, then deepened by years of what? It ended with both of us breathless. And terrified. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm not, I replied. That was the first lie. I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying it. Guilt gnawed at me. But so did something else. Something I hadn't felt in years. Desire. I looked at David sleeping beside me, oblivious. I wondered if he'd ever see me the way Ethan did. Ethan texted me the next day. We need to talk. That kiss changed things. We met at a quiet park. No accusations. No pressure. Just honesty. I've wanted to do that for years, he confessed. I didn't mean to lead you on, I said. But I had. We didn't touch again for weeks. But we kept talking. Sharing. Confiding. The intimacy was emotional. And in many ways more dangerous than physical. I was cheating. With my thoughts, with my words. I just hadn't admitted it yet. David forgot my birthday. Ethan didn't. He showed up at my favorite cafe with a gift. Small, meaningful. A signed first edition of my favorite novel. I cried. Right there. And he just held my hand across the table. That night I invited Ethan over. The kids were at my mother's. We talked for hours. And then, we stopped talking. We made love. It was slow. Reverent. 1,000 unspoken things passed between us. I felt more alive than I had in years. After that night we began an affair. Secret rendezvous. Careful lies. I lived 2 lives. One as David's dutiful wife. One as Ethan's secret lover. David started to sense something. I was distant. Happier oddly. Distracted. "Are you seeing someone?" he asked one night. I said no. He didn't believe me. I told my best friend. He was furious. "Julia, this won't end well. Someone's going to get hurt. Probably you." But I was in too deep. Mia found a message. She was using my iPad. She saw Ethan's name. A heart emoji. "Why is Uncle Ethan texting you like that?" she asked. My heart stopped. I came home one evening to find David holding my phone. Message thread visible. "We trusted you," he said. "He's my best friend." I had no defense. Just silence. David kicked Ethan out of his life. Filed for separation. The kids were devastated. Our home, once full of routine, was now chaos. Ethan pulled away. Said he didn't want to ruin my family further. I was alone. Lost. The thrill was over. Reality had crashed in. I started therapy. Took time off. Spent weekends painting. Walking. Thinking. I asked myself what I really wanted. Not who, but what. Peace. Purpose. Truth. Months later, Ethan and I met again. He had changed too. Quieter. Wiser. We talked. Apologized. Forgave. And decided to try again. Without lies. David and I ended things officially. No drama. Just sadness. He deserved better. So did I. So did Ethan. We waited a year before introducing him to the kids again. It was awkward. But slow. Honest. In time they accepted it. Ethan and I live in a small house now. No secrets. Just us. I paint. He consults. We laugh. We fight. We grow. Together. I never meant to betray anyone. I never planned this. But life isn't always clean. Sometimes it's messy. Painful. Beautiful. I chose truth. And in doing so I found myself again. Have you ever made a decision that changed everything? Share your story in the comments below. Subscribe to Veiled Desires for more emotional, raw stories that reflect the truth of human experience. Turn on notifications and never miss a new release.